Batman Caped Crusader is our most recent solo outing with Batman, and going into it, a lot of people are wondering, does it work? Being made by the same people behind Batman the Animated Series, but without the iconic duo of Mark Hamill and Kevin Conroy. Today, let's go over all of it, and in the end, talk about what the future may hold for this show. No matter what, this show will be referred to as a spiritual successor to Batman the Animated Series, which makes perfect sense. Batman the Animated Series is one of the crowning jewels of not only Batman or DC, but superheroes in general, and many kids, such as myself, grew up with the DC animated universe, which has made this Batman the definitive version of the character for generations, and that is most assuredly due to the performance by Kevin Conroy, which was only added upon by his chemistry with Mark Hamill as the Joker. And that duo would go on to do 15 other mainline projects together, cementing them as the Batman and the Joker. A key defining aspect of that original series was the production and vision of Bruce Timm and Eric Radomski. This series brought back Tim, but it also added J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. These are three of the most creative men in the industry, and you can tell they are 100% bringing their ideas to the table with this new interpretation, and that's really what matters. Comparisons will be made no matter what, and in many places they are definitely warranted, but the show so far has proved to be its own thing with a new style and reinterpretation of these old characters. Speaking of those reinterpretations, this show continued the trend from Batman the Animated Series to have it one villain of the week, but here the episodes are 25 minutes long, which should give us more time with these new versions of old characters. Some people were upset over certain characters. The main backlash was towards Oswald the Cobblepot. They changed the gender and added an A to the name. Personally, this didn't affect me, as it was actually pretty cool to see Penguin flirt with some of the police officers, which also gives some more light onto how the bribery worked here. The main problem I actually had was her not being British, which kind of removes the entire rivalry between the Cobblepots and the Pennyworths. From here on, the villains have significantly less disliked against them. The story for Clayface was a genuine mystery here, and for a minute I actually had no clue what was going on, which was a fantastic use of his powers. I can't express how much I hope the rumors are true that Clayface is the Batman 2 main villain. Also in this show, other villains like Harley Quinn, Catwoman, and Two-Face felt significantly fleshed out, and this new interpretation for Quinn might be my personal favorite. They completely swapped how the character works, which Bruce Timm said was intentional, and it works fantastically, especially since you get to see her interact with other characters consistently throughout the show. I only have two problems for the other villains like Firebug, Onomatopoeia, Nocturne, and the Gentleman Ghost. First off is their lack of screen time. This especially applies to Firebug and Onomatopoeia, who are barely a part of their episodes, as they're only being used by other characters to fulfill a goal. Besides that, they're still very interesting, but their lack of any character besides one main trait really shows. My second main gripe applies more to Nocturna and the Gentleman Ghost. These two characters have an emphasis on their non-human aspects, but we don't get to see this Batman be surprised by that. Sure, in the beginning, Batman denies that the Gentleman Ghost is in fact a ghost, but then he hires this random guy who doesn't really question anything, and then the episode just kind of ends. And with Nocturna, it's implied that she's some kind of vampire, and once again, he just kind of goes along with it, asking no questions. Overall, the villains here are all really cool interpretations of characters that we already know, and every single one of them has a sick new design that matches this decade. But there are some areas that could be lightly tweaked to improve how much we actually enjoy them as villains and especially as characters. The larger cast is also really well done here, and especially the Justice Department are really cool, with Montoya, Barbara, Commissioner Gordon, Flask, and Bullock having a really interesting dynamic. Also, the relationship between Barbara and Commissioner Gordon... Wait, does Gordon have a first name? James! Oh my god, I have seen Gotham 4 times. That's not a joke. How do I not know this? Okay, anyways, the relationship is really interesting, and its expansion throughout the latter half with their arguments about justice and how it works really grows our understanding of them as characters and as a father and daughter. For Flask and Bullock, I'm really on the edge about how I feel. On one hand, I really enjoy straight-played bad people sometimes, but also Bullock's teetering on bad copness is something I think genuinely defines him, and I'm unsure if this adds as much to his character as something like introducing Harley without the Joker. But maybe they'll do something I completely didn't expect with his character in the future. Now, for the final 2 characters I need to talk about, Batman and Alfred. Not gonna lie, we didn't get much of them here. This is obviously an early but not new Batman. He's still a great detective but not the greatest fighter, and gets caught in fighting just like the animated series Batman. And when he changes into Bruce Wayne, he never truly seems like himself around people, especially in the therapy episode, which I thought was a fantastic way to give Bruce more time and to introduce Harley, as she's been taking on a larger spotlight as of late. Side note, I was confused why Bruce called Alfred Pennyworth throughout the show, but eventually I realized why, and it provided fantastic character development. Something I also really love about this Batman and many others is that his Batman voice is his real voice and not vice versa. When talking to people as Bruce Wayne, he has this nicer light voice, but when he's talking to Alfred, his voice goes back to Batman, which continues the idea of Bruce being the mask, which is a fantastic concept that I love watch being explored. Also, I should 100% mention, Hamish Linklater does very well here. He's not reinventing the Batman wheel, but it 100% works. Now, let's talk about the future of this story. Spoilers for episode 10. There are a lot of characters that would be very cool to see in this show, but obviously many people are asking for the main man himself, the Joker, and we got our first look at him in episode 10. Going into the show, I thought John DiMaggio was going to do the Joker, and that really excited me, because his rendition in Under the Red Hood is easily one of my favorites. But I'm like 100% sure this is not him, but I am still all in for what this person is going to be doing. This Joker is already looking to be so cool, more of a Jeremiah than a Jerome. I'm 100% down for a Joker that leans more towards the serial killer aspect side of things, but also with his introduction, I don't want other cool characters to be forgotten about. I'd really love to see a Hush, Hugo Strange, Professor Pig, or Ra's al Ghul in this style, but more importantly, we need a Robin. Robin has been sidelined by a lot of general media recently, and it's been really hard to see Robin as a cornerstone of the Batman mythos. The James Gunn Batman film will have Damian Wayne, and no offense, but he's not my Robin. Give Batman a dick. Give Batman a dick, see how he reacts, it'll be pretty funny. Taking in Dick Grayson is something Bruce needs to do, because he sees himself in Dick, and he doesn't know how to parent or be a normal human, so he teaches this literal child to fight crime because it's how Bruce copes. This Batman, who is not only out of touch with others, but out of touch with Alfred, being given someone that is dependent on him would force him to change. I should also mention this wouldn't be a one episode thing. You could introduce this Robin at the end of the season and have the entire next season to grow their development and relationship. The fact that I'm talking this much about the third season of a show that hasn't even been confirmed for a season 2 yet should tell you I really enjoy this series. Season 1 was a fantastic reinterpretation of characters and stories made by a group of people who love this material for other people who also love this mythos. For any fans of the Bat, this show is a must watch. Until next time.